What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We're living like this could be our final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. We come.
Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. Right, we should have been at the Associated Championships, but as you can see, we are currently at home. Unfortunately, Martin isn't feeling 100%, so we've made the sort of decision not to go to the Associated Championships, which is a little bit gutting. I am quite disappointed, but yeah, it just wasn't meant to be, and Martin's not feeling great, so it's a long way for me to go on my own with Bo, and yeah, I don't really want to leave him as well if he's not feeling 100%, and he's our biggest supporter, so yeah, I'm disappointed, but in the grand scheme of things, we've had an incredible year, so I shouldn't really be that disappointed. The other factor is Top Cat and Buck would have to stay out in the field, and unfortunately the weather has been quite sort of unsettled, and it's surprisingly cold, and then we've also got quite heavy showers as well. Storm Benjamin, I think it's called, has sort of brought higher winds. So yeah, not really meant to be. It feels a little bit like at the end of the season, it's kind of the wrong time of year in some ways. Last year, obviously, we took Top Cat with us, so that worked quite well. Because even though he's a Shetland, he's the biggest wuss out. He really is. And unfortunately, the field that he'd have to stay out in hasn't got that much shelter. So he wouldn't be very happy, and the fields are struggling a little bit now. We've had quite a lot of rain, and unfortunately our neighbours' fields all sort of drain onto ours, and they don't drain great, and we've got springs out there as well. I have got other paddocks I can use, but we've had a huge crop of acorns this year, and yeah, they're surrounded by oak trees, and we've also got some sycamore trees around the other paddocks as well. So I like to keep them out where they are because there's less for them to hopefully get poorly on. So yeah, not meant to be. Try again next year. Something definitely to aim for. The hope next year is to perhaps take Buck. So yeah, going to be going hacking and try not to dwell on it too much. Unfortunately, with social media, obviously I've seen results that come through from earlier in the week, so I've got to try and keep things in perspective. Like I say, we've done incredibly well. I shouldn't be sort of moaning any bad luck, but yeah, I was looking forward to this one because it's nice to go to a competition without any pesky warm bloods. But yeah. So now got to sort of reevaluate things a little bit. Obviously, we haven't got anything qualified for winter. So the plan now is to sit down, have a look and see what competitions are coming up before the end of December. I know Bicton Arena is running one on, I think, the 6th of November. So whether we'll perhaps consider going to that and try and get elementary regionals qualified for. I've got 10 points, I think, at elementary already, and I need 5 more for regionals. But that does mean I've got to get a score over 65%. So yeah, that might be certainly worth trying to sort of do. And then the other thing is to have a look and see about training. I think Hayley's down in November, so I'll have a look at that. I didn't put my name down originally because we really sort of thought after the Associate Championships that Bo would probably have some time off. But to be fair, he is actually feeling really good again at the moment. So we'll see how things go. Obviously, I think we've got it's not this week; it's the following week. So yeah, some things to sort of consider going forwards. Obviously, I'd like to sort of continue his training over the winter, perhaps really sort of crack on and try and get our changes. So yes, that's the sort of where things are kind of at the moment. It feels like winter has well and truly arrived. It's been pretty cold. Even Bo's gone into thicker rugs, and he's generally quite a hot horse anyway. So, but I have clipped him, so that's partly was it. He's been all clipped and trimmed up, ready to go, and no party to go to. But yeah, Martin's feeling a little bit better, but he was pretty rough. So we obviously didn't make the decision to travel up on the Friday. Yeah. I was hoping that perhaps if he had a bit of a rest, but then it's a long way to be sat in a lorry. I did consider travelling overnight, but then that puts a lot on Bo particularly, and also myself. So we probably wouldn't have performed at our best, and then it's yeah. So probably the best decision to stay at home and look after everybody. Yeah, Top Cat's very happy because he's back in his stable. It's easier in the summer because they can live out. Unfortunately, I have to ask my parents to look after them, and I just don't think it's fair to ask my dad to be bringing Buck in from the field. Although probably Top Cat would be the worst behaved, but yeah, Buck's quite young and he is spooky and he is quite quick. And he's beginning to find his feet a little bit now, but he is still quite a nervous character, particularly going past the houses. For some reason, he really doesn't like going down there. I think it's because things are constantly sort of changing. There's some work going on the house. So he's a little bit unsure. So it wasn't fair to ask my dad to actually bring him in. And then it's sort of all the other things that go with it, feeding, mucking out. It's a lot to take on. So yeah, that's why they would stay out, but unfortunately end of October isn't ideal conditions to be sort of for them living out. We have got hard stands, but unfortunately, like I say, we have got trees around there that we try and avoid this sort of time of year. Wait, what are you doing? You want attention? Is it because you didn't get to go? You didn't go and show off? Yeah. You've been a good boy. Yeah, you don't really mind, do you? See, you didn't have to go on the lorry. Yeah, for a long journey. Bless him. Yeah, probably in hindsight, having sort of 3 big competitions, 3 championships, sort of right at the end of the season. Long way away. They're all over 5 hours. Is quite a lot to ask for him. You are being a little bit rude. I'm not scratching your bottom. Not happening. Right. I'm going over to see Top Cat if you're going to be rude. So yeah, little Top Cat got to stay in. Wait, you're ignoring me. There he is. You're quite happy, aren't you? Yeah, don't eat the mic. Yeah, you're a good boy. Yeah, he's still got his full winter coat, but he is wuss. He likes his stable. Likes some haylage. And he would like us to put the haylage bale a little bit closer to his stable so he could help himself. But he'd end up just dragging it all into his stable and then not eating it. Because you're very fussy, aren't you? Yeah. And you might just be able to make out that Top Cat has got a new nameplate. Now, I actually made these. It's a little sort of venture I'm considering doing, and I've also done ones for Bo and Buck. So Bo's got blue and Buck has a green one. So having a little bit of play with those. I'm really pleased with how they've come out. It's printed onto acrylic, so I'm hoping they'll withstand the sort of elements. They've been up now for about 2 weeks, and Buck was trying to chew his earlier, but it seems to withstand that, so that's brilliant. And I've also started making sort of emergency contact details for when we're at stayaways. I've got one that hangs up outside the stable on a chain, and I've also done some little ones which you can actually clip on the door, so the clip acts to stop obviously the horse being able to open door bolts, because not everywhere has what I tend to have, these safety bolts, so they can't undo them, because Bo's very good at just doing a normal sort of bolt. So yeah, we've been using those to stay away sort of since June. So that's another sort of thing I'm sort of looking into doing. So yes, yeah, there's things going on. See, like I say, winter feels like it's well and truly arrived. I'm very lucky that when we've been away at stayaways, parents have been painting the stables, so they are looking great, apart from the feed room behind, which has been left for me to do, and I still haven't got round to doing it. So I ideally need to think about doing that, but I don't think it's the ideal conditions to be painting at the moment, so I might have to wait spring, but I think I'll at least try and get in there and scrub that back wall so it looks a little bit better. So yes, the stables had a bit of a spruce up. Now with winter, I know everybody's probably in the same sort of, like, I always sort of thinking bedding, and everything's going up. We've obviously got Buck going into this winter as well, whereas obviously we bought him sort of in January, so that's sort of middle of winter. But I really was sort of trying to sort of think of ways that could be a little bit economical with haylage bedding. You can see I've got a big bale of haylage, although that's gone down quite quickly. That's a meadow haylage from a local supplier. I'm really pleased with it, and it's definitely a lot more economical than buying it in the small bales that I used to do when I just had Bo and Top Cat. But the problem is with Bo and Top Cat, they wouldn't have probably got through a big bale before it started to go off. Although it might have still worked out cheaper to buy, I've then got a problem that I've got to be able to get rid of the waste. So yeah, that is a big sort of consideration as well. I've been using shavings up until now, but unfortunately our sort of dung heap, and it's even sort of spread onto our sort of orchard area, has got quite big, and the shavings don't rot down as quick as some other beddings, which kind of brings me on to what I am now using, which is wood pellets. Now, I've got any affiliation with the company at all, so I've used it in the past, and I've used a lot of different beddings in the past. I've had cardboard, obviously shavings, straw, which I really didn't get on with, and wood pellets, and various different makes. Obviously there are cheaper options when it comes to wood pellets. I've even used straw pellets. I found the straw pellets were really sort of dark in colour, which I suppose isn't the important sort of thing. But why are you itching your bum? Constantly wants attention this morning, bless him. He's had his food, but he wants his new hay net, which he knows is tied up, or not tied up. It's on top of the bale there, and yeah, he's a little bit naughty that he thinks he needs fresh haylage all the time. He can't possibly eat it if it hits the floor. And then poor Buck then gets sort of the leftovers, and then eventually Top Cat gets to sort of rattle through it and see if there's anything left. But yes, he's a bit of a spoilt brat, aren't you, Bo? So what's I say? Wood pellets. Now I've gone back actually, because I used to use them a while ago. Aquamax. Now they're a fantastic company to deal with. Order it direct, and it came sort of. I think it was 2 days later, and the delivery company that brought it out, they were great as well. So yeah, really good service all round. So let's see here. This is Aquamax. So they are, I don't know how they're heavy, they feel heavy. They're just over 18 kilos per bag of wood pellets. And yeah, they produce a really, really nice bed. I can show you, obviously I haven't mucked out yet, but I thought I'd show you what it's like before I muck out. So to sort of start the bed, I put down 8 bags. Was it 8? I think I started with 6 actually, and then actually had to add some more. And then I get a bucket of warm water. I split the bags. I'm lucky to have warm water to use, because I think it just sped it up a bit. I left myself with, surprisingly, not very much time to actually get the bed sorted for Bo. He was the first one to change over. So then I split the bucket between 2 bags. I quarter the bags and then sort of basically just tip it in and leave it. And as you can see, it expands. So I did that for the 6 bags. Then I did end up adding a couple more bags, because it just looked a little bit sort of thin to start with. But it depends on how sort of thick a bed you really want. I like them to be fairly thick, but not too much. Otherwise, it's a lot of bedding to be constantly moving around. So I'm really, really impressed with the size of the bed it's produced, and actually how it's been lasting. So this is Bo's stable before I muck out. To be fair, he has always been relatively tidy. But I'm finding, particularly on the haylage and overnight, the bed was getting quite sort of wet. But as you can see, it's contained to quite a sort of small area. So yeah, like I said, I'm really kind of impressed with it. He tends to poo in sort of 2 areas on either side. And then Buck has also, just around here, he's also been moved over onto wood pellets. And again, to be fair, he's relatively tidy, although he's obviously in disgust with that bit of hay that's been dragged backwards. But again, yeah, he pees towards the front and then he poos along the back wall. So they are both quite clean in the stable, so I'm very lucky at that. And also I do a late check, sort of around sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock. So that I think that does definitely make a difference, and they will also pee in a bucket at that time as well, so that saves definitely some of the bedding. I've been really impressed, because I was taking out what sort of nearly a wheelbarrow out of each stable in the morning, and then I have to traipse it down to where we dump our muck. But now I can virtually get it in one wheelbarrow. Not quite, because unfortunately, so poor Top Cat gets kind of used as a bit of a dustbin, really, bless him, because he's got all the leftover shavings. Yeah, so as you can see, Top Cat has all the shavings that are left over. Now, Bo changed over 2 weeks ago, Buck changed over a week ago, and although I'd run their beds down a bit, that is all the shavings that is now left. So yeah, Top Cat, he's already kind of been mucked out and filled up the wheelbarrow. So yeah, it's surprising how much I even take out of a Shetland, although he does pee quite a bit. And he actually is the one that could do with being on the wood pellets the most. But he's also the one that doesn't tend to lie on his bed. He likes to lie in his hay at the front. So it made sense to sort of run the shavings down, because I wasn't going to just chuck them all. Yeah, got to think of the pennies. So winter finally does feel like it's upon us. So yeah, going on to wood pellets has definitely made a difference. And when it comes to sort of topping up the beds, haven't put any in bucks yet. Bo has had one bag added to it. So I'm hoping that it'll just be like one bag per horse per week. I'm really impressed, and I'd almost say it's improved since I last used it. It was many years ago. Yeah, it definitely feels not quite. It's almost sort of larger pieces in some ways, and the pellets break down well. Yes, obviously in the winter it's great because particularly where we are, is damp. 90% of the time it's going to be damp, so that's ideal for sort of just keeping the beds sort of a little bit damper, which is ideal really. And I can always just sort of spray it down if need be. And when it comes to taking out the wet, I take out the worst of it, and then kind of mix anything that's not too bad. Obviously you can see what it looks like, but there's no ammonia like you get with, even like with the shavings. Although I take the wet out every day, sometimes it was beginning to get a little bit strong. The rugs was sort of smelling, which you can't help, then gets on yourself. So I was a little bit self-conscious of that. And my husband did say a few times when I went into the house, "Wow, you smell really horsey." And I was like, okay, I couldn't really smell it, so we get used to it, I suppose. But I haven't been told that yet, and yeah, I've definitely noticed that my rugs aren't stinking, although I do try and keep them quite well washed. The other great thing is, right, as you can see, Bo's got a fantastically thick tail, and I always get comments about it. Everybody loves his tail. Bucks as well, he's got a really good tail. But the problem with it is I was finding he was just getting so many shavings in there, and particularly when it's a large flake, they're quite obvious. And I was spending like over like 10 minutes a morning just getting all the shavings out. Now, I've picked his feet out and brought him out the stable this morning. I did brush his rug off a little bit. He did have a little bit of bedding on that, but I haven't touched his tail. And other than a few bits of hay, there's no bedding in it. So that's great. It really is. That saves me quite a lot of time. And also his mane, he'd have it in his mane, because he's got a very thick mane. Yeah, so really impressed with it at the moment. I'm gonna have to actually stop talking a minute and do some mucking out. like I say, this was not the vlog I was planning on doing. It should have been the Associated Championships, but wasn't meant to be. So now I've got to look forward to continuing training. Obviously Buck is in work now and he'll continue to work through the winter. He's obviously got a few sort of provisional sort of plans for him next year. Obviously would like to aim for the young pony classes. He is in the gold section for prelim and novice, so it does what we will do with regards to BDs still a little bit sort of up in the air, because obviously he's only young and we've got to see how the training goes and how he develops. But he's been a very good boy and he's got quite an exciting vlog coming up next week, so just stay tuned for that. You're back, yeah? So his little world's going to change a little bit, because at the moment it's been quite nice, isn't it? But he seems to quite enjoy doing a little bit of work. He's very, very good. He's taken everything sort of in his stride, bless him. And I think actually having a bit of a job to do has definitely sort of helped him. I think he could have got quite cheeky otherwise. So yeah, he's definitely sort of mellowed out a little bit. Bless him. So like I say, something quite exciting coming up next week for him. But that's it for this week's video. I'm sorry it's not what was originally supposed to be. But yeah, these things happen with horses. Although wasn't the horses this time, it was a person. Bless him. Yeah, he's feeling. Bless his heart, he's feeling a bit guilty. And I've said he shouldn't. It's really important. It was going to be cold and wet up there. Whether we would have been able to park close to the stables, there was a lot of sort of considerations. He wanted to kind of just get on and go, but yeah, we definitely made the right decision. Yeah, bless him. So I better get on and muck out and then go and check on the patient. I will see you guys again next week. Bye.